The Renaissance period. During the medieval period, the torch lit by the Greeks and carried on by the Romans had been rejected. Medieval values instead elevated the spiritual and denounced the flesh. Then, in the mid-14th century, Petrarch, an Italian poet and scholar of Latin, was able to reconcile Christianity and classical and Roman Greek thought in his writings and revive interest in what had been dismissed as the pagan past. This started the period called the Renaissance, or rebirth. The shift of focus from God-centered to more human-centered interests became known as humanism. Of course, there wouldn't have been much of a Renaissance without a Renaissance man or two. A man with expertise in many fields. Take Brunelleschi, who was a goldsmith, architect, engineer, sculptor, and mathematician. As an artist, he discovered the principles of linear perspective, which gives the illusion of three-dimensional space to two-dimensional art. Start with a horizon line, add a vanishing point, and then lines that converge to that vanishing point. Now you have a framework for making objects appear farther away. Or closer. Of course, Brunelleschi was most famous for his massive dome. No, not that dome. The dome he built for the Florence Cathedral, equal in size to the dome of the Pantheon. Brunelleschi's new method of construction was so different that some Florentines wondered if he was mad. He devised a way to build the dome without scaffolding and without using flying buttresses commonly used in Gothic architecture to support the weight of large structures. 16 years later, when the dome was completed, it was recognized as a marvel of the era, and Brunelleschi was heralded as a genius. Yes. Perhaps no one exemplifies the ideal of the Renaissance man more than Leonardo da Vinci. Talented painter, sculptor, scientist, architect, and even a military engineer. He painted the most famous portrait in the world, the Mona Lisa. His boundless curiosity was best exemplified by his notebooks, which were filled with inventions like a tank, a flying machine, and a parachute. In 1482, Leonardo went to Milan, where he painted his famous mural, The Last Supper, on the wall of a monastery. He chose to portray the emotional moment when Jesus predicts that one of the apostles will betray him, and the betrayer will take bread at the same time he does. The apostles react in varying degrees of surprise and horror, except for Judas, who, distracted by the commotion, reaches for a piece of bread. Leonardo used perspective lines as a compositional device that leads the eye to Jesus' face, the calm center in the chaos. Though the Last Supper had been painted by others, Leonardo's version was the first to depict the apostles as real people acting or reacting like real people. After the death of Leonardo in 1519 and Raphael in 1520, artists rejected the values of the High Renaissance for a more heightened or more mannered approach. Mannerists like Tintoretto created unbalanced compositions that gave a visual tension to the work. Tintoretto's painting of the Last Supper shifts the table from the center to the left side and emphasizes dramatic light and motion to increase the drama of the image. Mannerist artists also intentionally distorted and stylized the human body and spatial relationships. Like this painting of the Madonna by Parmigianino. The figures are elongated, and instead of balancing the angels on either side of Mary, they are deliberately squeezed into left side with only a tiny St. Jerome on the right. Ow! How does she do it? The Renaissance was a period of great discovery, invention, and creativity. The Renaissance included the discovery of the New World by Columbus, the invention of the printing press by Gutenberg, the beginner of the Protestant Reformation by Martin Luther, and the scientific advances of Copernicus and Galileo, to name a few. The influence of the Renaissance on Western art is ongoing and even went viral without Facebook or Twitter or YouTube because of the strength of its ideas and the beauty of its creations.